And hopefully you're all looking at a black
Yes.
screen that says creative.
And
But you've got a zoom bar at the top of the screen, which will go onto the video. I don't know if you can remove that.
I don't see it.
I don't know if I can either. For now, let's just go ahead.
Right, next time. Bad moon on the rise.
Okay. On this image for creative, I think the title works very well. Kind of reminds me of a song or a lyric from a song. And clearly the moon is the main star of the image, and I'm enjoying the fact that there is a nice base of trees and silhouette as the foundation. I can't tell where the actual image ends because it's black on black, but that doesn't bother me a bit. So I think it works for this category. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Bill, move your cursor off screen. Thank you. Peonies awash with happiness.
Well, another one where I think the title works well. I mean, I really cannot tell from this image that they're peonies, but the title tells me that. And that's not even really important because I'm looking at it as more of a painting or some kind of piece of artwork. I'm obviously the colors are a big part of the story of this image. And I'm really enjoying the shades of pink and how the green weaves itself through. The lines are very well interesting, a lot of circular lines and curvy lines so that your eye follows through the image. Yeah, the only thing I'm wondering about is which item is the center of interest, and my eye keeps bouncing from like the upper left peony to the lower right corner peony, and that's okay. It's just that there are many places to look, not one main focal point. Next.
Down the rabbit hole.
I am enjoying the title as well in terms of the image itself. I don't see a rabbit, but I definitely get the sense of going down a hole. And so rabbit hole, fine. Rabbits make holes. It's a lovely piece of artwork in itself, very sharp. The center of interest clearly is the center. I don't think I would change anything. I think it's very graphic. The background, black background works well. Oh, and I think it's got a white border around it, which again helps it from fading away into the black of the screen. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Creative, intermediate, 2 images.
Autumn breeze.
Okay. I'm enjoying the title. I can clearly see from the autumn part that we've got a whole medley of different tones of oranges, different hues of orange, and some sort of green, golden tones in the bottom. It does look like there's motion, like a breeze would be. There are a few hot spots that mainly in the upper left hand top, the white bright areas. There's white dispersed throughout, but that one clump on the side of the edge kind of distracts me a little bit. So I think I would have done some content aware right on the edge to make that orange. Keep some of it white, but it kind of brings my eye way up there, and I kind of miss going through the image that way. Okay, next.
Cursor on screen again. January the 6th, 2021.
Okay, well, I really connected with this image because of the title and because of the red center and like the red teardrop coming out of the center. For me, this image had a lot of emotional impact. I like the border around it. Some judges don't like borders, but I think this works really well. And I think it's just the main emotion of this image that it got me. So I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Creative Advanced, 7 images.
No.
Movie.
Well, I really chuckled when I saw this image, and that's a good thing because you want to try and get some kind of a reaction from the viewer and get them involved. And I have no idea what that was, and it's created. It looks like it was a piece of wood and the rest I don't know. But clearly, the center of interest in this image is the movie. So I think it works well for creative, and I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Organic network.
Okay, this image really does look very organic to me. You know, some kind of medical or in the body kind of network of something, and I'm really getting that from the title and the image together. Clearly, it's not colorful. It's more about the lines and the clusters of the round shapes. And my eye, because of the diagonal, more or less format of the lines going from the lower left to the upper right corner, I really am able to move through the whole image quite easily, going to the first cluster and then going around all the clusters and then out the upper right-hand corner. So I think this works well. It probably would be fun in color too, but I think it gets its message across even in this sort of monotone lavender hue. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Red sky and morning. Sailors take warning.
Okay. Good title for matching well the image. I mean, you can clearly see that you're by a body of water, and there are some silhouettes, as you can see, of the seagulls. I don't know whether that's a boat out there by the sun, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the message is, you know, take warning, and it's definitely sun rising. Bright colors, very graphic. Again, I think I wouldn't change anything in this image. Next.
Mutation.
Okay, well, what caught me about this image, of course, is the title, and that this is probably the center of some kind of flower, but it really does look like a COVID molecule or whatever. And I suspect that that's, you know, that gave it, for me, gave it a little bit of a visual, emotional punch. Now that could be in my own head that it's a COVID molecule or whatever mutating, but I never would have thought to take a flower and do that with that title. So I think this works very well and creative, and I wouldn't change anything.
Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay, well, a lovely silhouette, as you can see, of a tree, and of course, beautiful sky. I get the Toto, we're not in Kansas title, but this image for me looks very realistic. And I'm just wondering whether, I mean, it would, to me, I think it would be well received in Pictorial, but I'm just not sure how it works in creative, other than the fact that the title makes it somewhat creative. So I guess that's my only concern. I feel it's not as strong in this category as it could be in another category. Next.
Katrina in Doorway, Waxahachie.
Okay, very, very graphic, strong colors, as you can see. Really fun. I don't know whether it's a real person or not. It doesn't really matter. I know in Mexico, that this is a Day of the Dead is a big celebration, and this looks like a Day of the Dead costume. I'm just really enjoying the colors and the simplicity and the graphicness of this image. I can't think of, well, I'm wondering a little bit about the white floor in the front. It's kind of bright. I don't mind it that much, but I think I would have tried a variation where I might have taken some of the blue texture on the left side and turned that into the same color and texture on the floor, just to see if that made it hang together a little better or not. But it's a variation, and this works as well. Next.
I can fly.
Well, my husband saw this image and he said, I never thought of doing that. And that was exactly my feeling. It's like, oh my gosh, how many seagulls do we have? And we never thought of doing that with the Blue Angels. So it really had an impact on me, and the title works well. And I think I wouldn't change anything. I think it works very well in this category. Next.
Creative Masters, 5 images.
Brothers in their bubble.
Again, you guys are really good with titles in all your categories. Your titles are really well done. And this one matches what I'm seeing quite well. I don't know whether these kids were, whether they were on a water slide or what, it doesn't matter. You've got the kids in there and you've got great bubbles. And, I'm not ping-ponging between the two kids for some reason. Maybe because the bubble shape is keeping me together in the center, so I can enjoy it all as one main story. So I think this works very, very well. Next.
We are but shadows on the wall.
Okay, well, clearly this has been manipulated a lot, but I think the outcome is totally unique in my opinion. It's not like I've seen anything like this before. I find the colors very appealing, the neutral grays and then the shades of different shades of orangey colors coming in, like rusted parts of something metal, some kind of gear or whatever. I have no idea what it was, and it doesn't matter at all. The circles just keep me in the frame, and I keep studying different parts and going around. So there's a lot here, but oddly enough, I personally don't find this busy. I find it as a lovely piece of art, and I wouldn't change anything. Next.
CR5, Section 3.
Okay, this is really interesting. It's kind of, for me, again, like an abstract. I have to confess, I'm not sure what the title means. CR5, Section 3, I'm missing that, but and it's also interesting to me that in the 2/3 up on the left side, it's mostly colorless, as you can see, but there's a little bit of pink in there, and it's enough pink to draw me away from the grays and the blue tones to go to that one little spot. So I just find that intriguing. It's more of a pattern shot for me. I don't find that that pink area has a strong center of interest, but it does pull my eye up that way. Okay, next.
Cosmic Flow.
Okay, well, I really am enjoying the title and what I'm seeing. I definitely see something flowing, and it's very graphic, very simple. I enjoy the simplicity of it. It has interesting highlights on it. I don't know whether it's a liquid or a piece of metal, and it doesn't really matter, but the highlights, the sort of grayish line and the sort of yellow line going top to bottom or bottom to top pull my eyes through the whole image. And the red in the image is nicely echoed by the background, the very soft red hazy background. So I also think the long skinny vertical format works well. And it makes me wonder what I'm looking at. It's interesting. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
A rainbow and a rabbit's foot. This is going to be my lucky day.
Okay. Well, yes, rabbit's feet and rainbows are known to be lucky. I don't know if they are in the current generation, but it was kind of lucky when I grew up. And I'm really enjoying the rainbow over this lovely tree. The rabbit is in the lower left corner, as you can see, and I'm sure he's got feet, but it's a little subtle for me. And again, it's probably a composite, which, you know, it's been digitally manipulated and will, you know, fit and creative. But I think I would have, it still comes across to me being kind of a bit realistic as opposed to, I don't know how to put it. But I think maybe, I don't know how you would, maybe the rabbit needs to be bigger. Maybe the rabbit needs to be in there showing his foot. I'm not sure. But I just think it's comes across to me a little bit more pictorially. Next.
Pictorial basic, 3 images.
Serene morning at Ocean Beach.
Okay, really enjoying the colors and the lines in this image. The shoreline coming in from the right side really takes me in and weaves me around through the image so that I can get to the horizon line where the bonus is the sea stacks out in the water and then some of the shore. And the extra bonus, if you really look, there's 2 tiny little people in the upper left side, which are a very nice little extra something, I think, in this image. I'm wondering whether you need all of that sand. I do think this image would work if you cropped a little off the bottom. I'm not suggesting that that would make it better or not. It would be an alternative. Okay, next.
After the thunderstorm.
Well, what struck me about this image is the quality of light. And of course, that's coming from the sun after the thunderstorm. I like the greens look very natural. There's good definition in the rocks. There's no hot spots or anything. Very pretty colors in the reflections of the shoreline and the trees. And the maker doesn't have a bald sky. You've actually got little hints of clouds up there. So I think this works quite well. I also think a variation, which, you know, it wouldn't necessarily make it better, it would just be a variation. You could crop a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom and make it more of a panoramic. And I think that would just be a nice alternative, but I don't think I'd change anything in this image. Next.
Shoe fly don't bother me. Common green body fly.
Bottle, okay. Well, what I love about this image is seeing the eye of this fly. Yes, the body and the wings fall off in terms of focus, but the face of this fly is so strong and it's right in your face. I just really am enjoying seeing that, and I do think the colors and the overall composition work well. He's on something white, and that's a little bright. I might have toned that down, but it doesn't bother me all that much because the fly itself is so strong. I think it carries it quite well. Next.
Pictorial, intermediate, 7 images.
Anna's hummingbird at golden hour.
Okay. Well, beautiful colors, as you can see in this Hummer. Everything is quite sharp. The wings are really beautifully depicted. I'm sure they're in motion, but still, you don't really see much motion blur. He's just hovering there. I find this little bit of light coming down above the bird's head to be interesting, kind of like, I don't know, othergodly kind of light. That adds a little something to the overall image to me. The background is interesting. It's not really solid black. It's got some greens and magentas and a little bit of color, but it's very played down. And I think that's good because the main star is the bird. The only thing I would suggest, and I just noticed this, is in the lower left corner, there's a couple of bright spots, not super bright, but I would have cloned those out or content aware those out because the bird and the light above the bird is so strong. Next.
Fragile.
Okay, a lovely silhouette of 2 people being pretty quiet. Is that trying to say that life is fragile? The relationship between this man and woman is fragile? It makes me wonder, so I'm enjoying the title along with the image. It's basically just 2 colors, as you can see, just black and shades of blue. So it's easy to read. I'm not sure what else I would do in this image. Okay, next.
Blood rose.
Okay, a lovely red rose. I am really enjoying the fact that the center is well depicted, or at least the main petals in the center. Actually, all the petals are relatively sharp. So the depth of field that was chosen is pretty good because the background is soft and blurry and not, help contrast with the sharpness of the rose to make it stand out. The greens are really strong and is also a strong contrast to the red of the rose. So I can't think of anything else I would do. I imagine the stem of the rose is hidden behind the body. I can see some leaves in the front. They're defined enough, but I think this works. And I like it's not exactly a square format, but it's close to being square. Next.
Blue Angel flying over the Golden Gate Bridge, October 7, 2017.
Okay, well, this is a pictorial image. It's giving me more information that I really need for Pictorial. That's the kind of information that I'd probably want to see in a journalistic image, but it doesn't take away from just the fact that you gave me all that information. It doesn't make any difference. It's fine in Pictorial as well. I also think it would work nicely in journalism. And the plane is just tack sharp, and you can see the guy in the cockpit. Okay, the bridge itself is not quite as sharp, but that's because you're focusing on the plane and not the bridge itself. So I think it's a very fortunate capture. Well done. Next.
Elephant Rock.
Okay, a very misty kind of scene or fading away in the distance, but Elephant Rock. I'm enjoying the texture and tones in the rocks, and I wonder if this really was called Elephant Rock or whether that's just what the maker saw in this natural form. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm just curious about that. But I keep looking at it and trying to define the elephant in here because of the title. Do you need all the rocks on the left side? Well, that helps. The little rocks on the left side help bring your eye into the main rock. So that kind of works. The rock in the front, in the foreground, is a little bright. And I think I would have burnt that down just a bit. I think it probably has lichen or something on it, something white all over it. Maybe it's the mineral in the rock. But it does bring my eye to the bottom of the frame. And the main subject, of course, is the large rock, the elephant rock. So I think that would help keep my eye from going down there. Next.
The top ancient dune. Sosuvle Naviv now Park, Namibia.
Okay. Impressive colors, the orangey color of the dunes against the blues of the sky. Wonderful complementary colors that work very well. It's very easy to see this, to look at this image and be pleased by it. It's especially nice that you have a person, tiny little person at the peak of this sand dune. Very interesting pattern of footsteps going up the edge where the person walked. And then you have the wonderful slope of the dune and the curve of the second little dune in the background. And in the foreground, you have extra bonuses with these interesting scraggly trees and wonderful shadows. So great sense of light in this image. So I don't think I'd change anything. Next.
The morning fog kisses the hills and valleys.
Okay, again, good title for what I'm seeing in this image. I'm enjoying the moodiness of the fog. It helps me get through the image. I can travel left and right throughout where the fog flows. And there's not, you have a sky where you've got some interest in there, not only the kind of storminess of it, the grays, but you have some little white clouds that are muted out and some pink areas. So that helps carry the color palette from the land into the sky. I guess for me, the main, I'm not sure where my eye lights. I think my eye goes to the mountain peak in the background. And I think that that's probably because that's the tone of that mountain is the strongest for me. So I don't think I'd change anything. Okay, next.
Pictorial advanced, 9 images.
Family trek.
Okay, another dune shot with lovely patterns in the sand and wonderful curves on the dunes and the edge of the dunes. Nice that you had people. It would, I think it would have been a little boring if it were just this particular dune shot. I think the people add a lot, and the maker has captured a moment where they're nicely spaced out so you don't have any merging. And the people help me go from the left side of the frame to the right side of the frame. I follow them on their journey into the dunes, so that really helps. Nice quality of light. You can really see on the large dune in the background how the light is falling in one of the crevice areas. So I think that's very pleasing. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Approaching storm.
Okay. Well, for me, this image is all about the sky. I do enjoy the foreground with all these windmills and all the different size of windmills, but the sky is just magnificent. And the color of the sky is kind of not what I would expect, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be gray or blue. It's a little bit on the coffee color, brown side, and it kind of mirrors some of the browns in the foreground. It's mostly gray, but there's little kind of brownish areas, brownish red areas in the ground as well. There are really no hot spots, and I think this works as it is. Next.
Autumn colors.
Okay. Well, what I'm enjoying about this, obviously, is the colors, but there is a strong focal point for me, and that's the wonderful pumpkin or squash, the orange pumpkin or squash in the center. It really stands out, but it's nice that it has all these orangey red blossom flowers around it. Also, I'm enjoying the texture in the wood structure and the fact that the vertical pole is basically pointing right to the main star of the frame. So I do think this works. It's a little busy compared to some of the other images that have less going on, but this is more of a realistic shot of how it really was in nature. I don't think I'd change anything. There could be a variation here where if you cropped off maybe the top part of the image and just had the very large leaves surrounding the pumpkin or squash, that would be a variation. It would make it a little less busy, but I don't know whether it would really, I mean, I think it works the same way as it is now. Next.
Early spring in Sonoma Valley.
Okay, well, the quality of light in this image and the light star is what I find very appealing. I'm really enjoying the fact that the trees on the left side and the right side are framing the scene and are arching over the whole top to kind of bring your eye in to the main tree where the sun star is, and the beautiful beams of light coming down through the frame diagonally really add a lot to the overall image and allow me to get into the scene quite well. colors are very nice in addition to that. So I don't think I'd change anything. Next.
Windswept.
Okay. Really enjoying the contrast of the wonderful magenta, hot pink flower with the strong green background. The background, as you can see, is nicely soft and muted out, so that the flower itself becomes the main star. The center of the flower is quite sharp, and all the little petals right around that part of the flower are nicely defined and sharp. Of course, as you go out to the outer part of the outer petals, the depth of field falls off and it becomes a little soft, but that's okay. See, I like the fact that you can see the stem. That kind of stands out from the rest of the green of the background. I just noticed this, and I think it's not a big deal, but next to the stem, on the just left of the stem, there's a little dark green blob. It's probably on a piece of leaf or something, but it kind of stands out because it's on something light. I think I would have just content awared that or cloned that, because it's like a spot, and I know it's part of the leaf, but it brings my eye to it because of it's close to being a dot. That's the only thing I'd suggest on this one, but it's not a major point. Next.
Hibiscus in backlight.
Okay, lovely lighting on this image. The leaves, well, I should say leaves, the petals have lots of wonderful texture and definition. I'm really enjoying how the petals are curling. You can see the curling parts on many of the top petals. The best thing is how the light is coming from the back through the top petals, well, through all the petals, but particularly the one on the left shows all the veins and structure of the petal. The main stamen or pistil is not real sharp, but that doesn't bother me, really. I don't mind it because the petals are so well handled. I'm glad the maker chose to put a little green of the foliage in there to contrast, and the black background for me makes the whole image pop out, really gives it a punch. And the maker chose to put a little frame around it, tiny little skinny thing, kind of cyan color, and I think that helps keep everybody in the frame as well. Next.
There goes the Badwater Rain.
Okay, a wonderful spot to photograph, and I think that this is a very pleasing rendition of this area in, I guess, Death Valley. Interesting pattern done by nature, of course. Maker was fortunate to be there when there was a great sky. But you know, in Pictorial, even if you weren't there when there was a great sky, you could have put a great sky from some other image in there. And that in Pictorial would be kind of okay. So wonderful sense of light. I love how the light is falling on the background and in the middle, right on those mountains, right in the center. Very easy to read. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Seascape with cormorants.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that there are, that you have the foreground with the cormorants, so that gives me a foreground, a middle ground. There's not much background, but that's fine. It's nice to see how the land curves around from where the rocks and the cormorant are, You can curve around up through the frame to the upper right, upper left corner, and then wander through the sea stacks. It's nice that you have some water splashing on some of the rocks in the background, and a fairly nice pattern in the water as it flows throughout the frame. There aren't any real hot spots, and I don't think I'd crop it any differently. So I have no other, there's good definition in the dark areas of the rocks too. Okay, next.
Pets and their owners too.
Well, I'd like to know who has that pet. Wow. Clearly, this vulture is actually kind of attractive. His face, his beak and eyes, and the feathers around his neck are tack sharp. A little bit of a catch light in his eye. As you can see, the wings feathers closest to the viewer and the man's face far away are out of focus. So what that does for me is make my whole attention going to the face of this bird and its neck, which is very well done. And I don't mind the fact that the man is out of focus and that his head is chopped off. I don't mind that I don't see the rest of the bird because, again, for me, the whole story is about the face of this bird. Next.
Pictorial Masters, 12 images.
Waiting.
Waiting. Well, I'm really enjoying this image for a lot of reasons. I feel the light on her back as it flows on her shoulders. And I can make up all kinds of stories with a title like this, like who's she waiting for? Why is she in this space? Look at the interesting doors, but it's kind of decrepit as you can see, but the color contrast between her yellow garments and the blue make a wonderful complementary palette. There's enough ground around so I can get a sense that she's out in some decrepit area out in the country. And I'm wondering why, she's showing off her tattoo. Her hair is pulled to the side. So that makes me make up more stories about this. I think this is a very successful pictorial image and can hold my interest for a while. Next. I wouldn't change anything.
Island cattle, Bos taurus, originating in the Outer Hebrides, are bred for harsh, cold winters.
Okay, what I really enjoy about this image is the way the light falls on these animals. It really makes the color of their fur just stand out, reddish, golden. You can really feel the warmth falling on their bodies. And they're very interesting looking animals, and Maker has gotten a wonderful image where there is a merge, but it doesn't matter because the little one is, you can read everything about the little one, and the larger one with the horns in the back shows the little one off. It also gives a good depiction of the environment and the wonderful colors in the golden ground. I think it works very well as it is. I also think you probably have enough pixels where if you wanted to crop in, you could crop in and make the story more about these animals. But I think it works very well as it is. Next.
Happily, this path survived Sonoma County's 2020 Waldridge fire. Sadly, my lily has since passed away. It has now become a beautiful place for visiting my memories.
Well, the title tells it all. It's a little sad. Lily looks quite happy there, though, very comfortable in this spot. I think the maker made a good choice of having Lily be the star of this image, but give me a little bit of path, of grassy paths that I can wander down and show me the environment that Lily is resting in. I like the fact that they included the fence and a little bit of the background trees on the mountains. So I think it's a very pleasing pastoral scene. It must be early in spring, right after a rain or something like that, because the greens are really intense. And that could be natural, or maybe they're saturated a little bit. I don't know. But it's just something I noticed. There's no real hot spots, and I think this is a nice shot of Lily. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Sharp-eyed, a snowy egret at Spring Lake.
Okay, a nice portrait of this egret. Very, very sharp throughout. Little tiny catchlight in the egret's eye. Beautiful, soft, blended background so that, you know, the egret can stand out from the sort of brownish background. Nice definition in the egret's feathers. There's no hot spots. You guys know how it can be quite difficult when you're shooting anything that's white. You have to bring those highlights down, and this is handled quite well. Again, I don't think I'd change anything. Next.
My 100th birthday.
Wow. A very nice portrait. I like the choice of monochrome. You can really see all the definition in her face, a lot of wrinkles and so forth, but at 100, you know, she's not as wrinkly as you could imagine. And her hair is well defined. I like the fact that the maker has either chosen or maybe burnt out, that she's got a garment on that kind of flows into the background, same tone, pure black. Because for me, that makes her face and her neck stand out. Strong contrast. Nice light flowing on her face too from the upper right-hand corner. The only thing I would say is that there's a lot of black above her head, and I'm not sure why you left that much space. I think I would have cropped a touch off the bottom of the top of her head. You don't need all that black because the story is all about her and her face and the light in her eyes. She has nice catch lights. Okay, next.
Wonder and Awe, Bangkok, Thailand.
Okay, very nice expression on this young man's face. Interesting that he's looking up. That for me, that helps me follow up from the lower right-hand corner and look up through the whole frame so that I can really enjoy everything. Good contrast of colors too, the cyan background with the golden yellow, nice complementary colors. He has good catch lights in his eyes. I'm enjoying the tones in his skin. There's only one spot, and it's not so bad. On his left cheek, upper left cheek, it's a little hot. I think I might have cloned that or cloned that out a little bit, but it's very secondary. So I don't think I'd change anything in this image, except for that, perhaps. Next.
Buddha's fingers.
Buddha's fingers. Well, very interesting plant. I'm glad the maker chose an aperture that really made the background blur out, because the plant itself and the leaves can really stand out, and they do, and everything's quite sharp. You can see all the little hairy, fuzzy parts of the leaves, and the structure of the leaves. And then on the blossoms, you've got 3 blossoms, and we like to see odd numbers of things, so 3 is a good number. And it's also fortunate that the center blossom is wide open, and you can really enjoy all the parts of that particular blossom. So I don't think I'd change anything on this image. Next.
House, Zanzibar.
Okay, again, an interesting choice, monochrome. I'm really enjoying that choice because it really, for me, emphasizes not only the structure, but the amazing sky behind this structure, all kinds of light and forms in the clouds. And then this house is just unusual. I mean, maybe it's common in Zanzibar, but it's not something you would see every day anywhere else. So that's very enjoyable, and it's well defined. Everything's quite sharp. You can see all the thatching on the roof. You can see that there's plants growing, trees and plants around it. And then it's on this unusual foundation. I don't know whether it's mud or rock or whatever. And you can even read the sign that says the rock. So I wouldn't change anything in this image. Next.
Lighting the way.
Okay, a lovely object, a nice, simple background, very attractive tones, I think, in this image. The kind of pale, musty greens, and then the sort of olivey, beigey colors, and then the sand-colored background. I find appealing, and then the 3 boats. I don't know whether that's on this image, this light, or whether the maker put them there. But either way, I think it works well. I'm wondering whether you need to show the circular metal part on the bottom that is supporting this light. I think it's fine. I also think you could have cropped that out where we didn't see that bolt. We just saw the verticals, and that would work as well as an alternative. But I don't think other than that, just maybe a variation of it, or keep it as is. I think it works. Next.
Red shoes.
Okay, well, clearly this is about red shoes. And I find this image very intriguing because of the treatment, or how the maker treated most of this image, the background. You know, you could clearly see that the man or young man is well defined, and he's walking in front of a brick structure. But then the rest of it becomes so dreamy and in color and in softness. It's like he's walking into a dream, and I'm enjoying that. It gives me a lot to ponder. So I think this works well in Pictorial, and I don't know, maybe it would even work in Creative, but I think it works fine in this. And to have that much space above the man, I don't mind that, because there's so much interest for me in the way the colors blend together, and like having a painting. Next.
Standing tall.
Really enjoying how well defined these aspen are. Are they aspen or are they birch? Not sure. But having the three main trees, tree trunks right there is very strong. Takes me from the nice foundation of the grass all the way through the whole image. And it's very nice the way the light is falling and letting the yellow leaves, I think they're aspens, glow. They just have this special glow. So again, I wouldn't change anything. It's well defined, good story, nice colors. Next.
View from the fence, rural Kenya.
Okay, a different image, something for me that I've never seen. I can tell from the title and also from looking at the image that this is out in a rural villagey area. It's for me very impactful. The colors of the blue of the sky and the fact that the children have blue on tied together very nicely. Everything's very sharp and well defined. And I just get a very strong emotional response to this image. I want to know more about these kids and how they live and what they're doing. So I think the overall format and everything, the way it's handled and the exposure, etc., composition is very well done. Next.
Okay, we'll take a break, about 5 minutes, then we'll go on to nature and monochrome for the second half.
Oh boy.
At the top of the screen where it says view options, can you click on that and see if there's an option to get rid of that bar because it obscures the titles?
So what's the bar that you see? Does it say you are screen sharing?
Yes, I see that. And then part at the right, it says view options in blue. Your cursor is right by it. Up at the top of the screen.
Yeah, I don't see that, Steve. Let's see.
I don't see it either. The titles have been visible to me.
Yeah,
Invisible?
the left side that says you are.
Yeah, I see a cursor moving around.
On my iPad, I can change it. I just click in the middle and it goes away. I don't know about on a PC.
How's that? I just push it down to the
Hasn't
bottom.
been an issue for me.
Is that better?
No. I think it's a function of each person.
Yeah, I don't see it at all in mine.
Never mind.
I'm not having any issue either.
We switch roles and it's my setup. My apology.
Oh,
No problem. Nature, basic, 3 images.
Okay.
And now I can see the title.
okay.
Coyote, Canis latrans, has adapted to live alongside people. This one lies camouflaged in the grass at Tule Lake Regional Park in Petaluma.
Okay. A wonderful capture of this animal. A lovely expression on the animal's face. The title gives me a lot of information and includes the Latin name, which is great, and tells me where it is. As far as the exposure, I mean, it's spot on and everything's really definable in this animal. So he's got really big ears. It's just very well done, and it is a good nature story. Next.
Sorry. There we go.
And now it's my problem. Just a moment. I lost my window. Bill, could you read the title?
Sure. American Avocet. Yeah, you got to give me this one right. Icuravirastra, American Cullinan Ranch, Solano County.
Okay. So it tells me what kind of bird this waterfowl this is, and gives me the Latin name, which is good, and where it is. And it doesn't really emphasize its behavior in the title. You probably could have mentioned that he's fishing for food and what kind of food he likes, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing. But I'm really enjoying the pictorial qualities of this, and the fact that the maker has caught the water movement off the bill of this bird. So again, this is a good nature story. Next.
And I still don't have screen.
In Etosha, Namibia, wildlife congregates near springs. At dusk, this reflection of a Namibian giraffe, Giraffa camelopardalis angolensis, was visible on the surface of the Okakugio waterhole.
Wow. A lot of good information in the title, and I think the maker has done as good as you can get with making a nature story in the title. The image itself, for me, is just strikingly pictorial in its qualities. I had a hunt in the background land to see that there actually is a giraffe that matches the reflection. So the only thing about this image is, for nature, it's all about the water hole and the reflection in the sky, and you can barely see the actual giraffe. And actually that's referenced in the title. So I'm not sure if it's as strong a nature story as it is pictorial. I just find it extremely attractive on pictorial elements here. Next.
Nature Intermediate, 4 images. Cedar waxwing, Bombacilla cedrorum. Adults are distinguishable from juveniles by their black masks and red spots at the tip of their wing feather. Elderberries are our favorite target.
Okay, a good nature story, again, the Latin name. I know what I'm looking at, and it describes the birds and what the birds are eating. And you can see in the mouth of the left bird, you can see an elderberry. It's a wonderful story and has beautiful pictorial qualities to it. So great, I wouldn't change anything. Next.
I'm back. Woodpecker, 1 of 2. This male hairy woodpecker, Leucanthropus villosus, having packed into the underside of a tree branch, begins extracting the larva of a wood-boring beetle.
Okay, this is 1 of 2, and
2 of 2.
yeah.
Larvae of wood-boring beetles are a substantial part of the hairy woodpecker's diet. With a slight toss of this woodpecker's beak, the larva is swallowed.
Okay, the title for 1 and the title for 2 are very well laid out. Very strong nature story, Latin name included. So it gives me a lot of good extra information about even the beetle. You couldn't get any closer than this. This is a really wonderful capture. Nice catch light in the bird's eyes. Great exposure. Those are all pictorial qualities, but this story is very strong for nature, and these images, both images, have nice pictorial qualities as well. Next.
Flying. Young African bush elephants, Loxodonta Africana, Etosha National Park, Namibia.
Okay. This tells me what kind of elephants these are and name and where we are. You can see that they're youngsters because you can see part of the adult in the background, and that helps me understand where they are, a bit about their relationship. I'm not sure if elephants, I think elephants do play. I'm just concerned that the word play might be doing anthropomorphizing, but they are definitely interacting with one another. And that's the nature story here. I think it would be fine to tone down some of the brightness in this image. So that's the one thing. The background is really kind of bright in terms of the ground that behind the elephants. So that's a little distracting, but it's a good nature story, and I wouldn't change anything other than that. Next.
Sanderlings, small shorebirds, run along the shore in sync with the waves in search of food. Their name is derived from Old English for sand plowman.
A lot of interesting information. It depicts the group of sanderlings quite well, but as you can see, they're just sort of, the title says they're running in sync with the waves, and they're just running. So they're not, I guess that's a typical behavior, but it's a little quiet compared to maybe an eating behavior or a mating behavior. Also, though, this image has really nice pictorial qualities and a wonderful sense of light. But I think the maker's done a fair job in the title explaining what the story is. Next.
Nature Advanced, 6 images.
A squash bee, Apis pruinosa, gathers pollen from a squash flower. Squash bees have been pollinating squash plants since before the introduction of honeybees or Europeans to the Americas.
Well, a really good story the title tells. I didn't know about squash bees, and I didn't know they've been around that long. But aside from that, this is a wonderful depiction of the bee. The eye and all the furry bits of the body around the eye and so forth are very, very sharp and well depicted. And you can really see the pollen clustered on the bee's legs. And you really get the sense that the bee is in the middle of this squash. It's just screaming yellow of the squash. Great story, very good title. I think it works well in nature. Next.
Beargrass, one of two. Beargrass is not a grass, but a member of the lily family. It is native to the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Each rosette blooms once with ideal conditions. Mass blooming can occur every 5 to 10 years in late May into August.
Okay, an interesting series. This blossom looks really different from the whole field of blossoms, and I guess that's fine. That's how it evolves. I think the story is well told and about what's going on here, what the behavior of this blossom is. In the first image, what I also am enjoying is the pictorial qualities, because the maker has burnt down the background, which is okay, and the blossom is very, very sharp. So this has a lot of pictorial aspects to it for me as well. And the second image continues the story and tells me more about every 5 to 10 years, there's a mass blooming. So who knew this plant existed? It's very educational. Next.
Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep, Ovis canadensis, are found in the Yellowstone area. Feeding on grasses and shrubby plants, they can be seen in grassy meadows, steep terrain, and rugged cliff areas.
Okay, a nice capture of this bighorned, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. You can see how the color of the sheep blends in with the environment. There's enough of the environment to see that they're up on a mountainside and they're somewhat camouflaged by the coloring. And they talk about that they're like what they like to eat. And you see that the sheep has its face in a plant, maybe getting ready to nibble on a leaf or so. So I think it's a good nature story. Next.
The turkey vulture, Cathartis aura, feeds primarily on carrion and performs a vital function by ridding the landscape of deteriorating carcasses and helping to curb the spread of dangerous diseases.
Okay, a really interesting nature story to me. I mean, for me, these guys aren't pretty, but they're doing a very important job. And the title tells me what kind of important job that they're doing. I love the fact that everything is sharp. I can see all the detail on the turkey vultures and its prey. And again, it's a typical nature story for these critters. A good story. Next.
As hummingbird on stage.
Okay. Yes, they've told me, it's nice they've told me what kind of hummingbird it is and what kind of plant that it's feeding on. It's kind of a short nature story, it just talks about the bird and the plant. I'm not sure what else you would want to add, maybe maybe something about how you know it's an Anna's hummingbird because of the coloring of the bird. I think it's a good nature story and may not be as strong as some of the previous nature stories. Next.
Growth and regrowth, one of 3. Trees in temperate rainforests, such as this western red cedar, Thuja plicata, can live for more than 1,000 years. In death, the tree can provide nutrients and a favorable environment for new trees. It is then known as a nurse log. Even the stumps of old trees can provide the advantages of a nurse log, although in a more limited way.
Okay, a very interesting nature story here. I think this series of 3 works well because in each image I learn a little bit more from the title, and what the title is talking about matches well with what I'm seeing in the actual image. So it's a story that perhaps a lot of people would not know this story and would not take a picture of these trees, but this maker did, and I think they've captured the story. I didn't change anything. Next.
Nature Masters, 4 images.
Pine siskin, Spinus pinus, is a migratory bird in the finch family. They can store up to 10% of their body weight in seeds overnight, allowing them to survive in very cold weather?
Okay, for me, the title makes the nature story in this image because basically it's kind of a portrait. The bird is just there. And without the title, there wouldn't be that much of a story. So I think the title really helps. The only other thing that could have made it a little stronger is if you found the bird doing a different typical behavior than just sitting there. And of course, that would take a lot of patience. And by the time he did something, he would probably fly away. So, okay, next.
The orange skin around the eye of a killdeer, Gerodrius vociferus, becomes intensely orange at the beginning of the breeding season, February, Spring Lake, Santa Rosa.
Okay, now you could look at this and say it's a portrait, but no, it's not a portrait because the title explains about the orange color, and that's part of what happens when they're going into their breeding season. So I think this is well captured, and the title and the image match well. Next.
Common buckeye, Junonia cornea hebner, is named for its conspicuous target-shaped eye spots. It's seen year-round and is quite wary of close approach. It posed briefly on the celosia to get nectar.
Okay, a nice capture of this, let's see, what is it? Is it a
Common buckeye.
buckeye? Okay, it's a butterfly, or not a moth, right? It's a butterfly. So there is a nature story there about the eye spots, and gives me a lot of extra information. I'm wondering if the eye spots are part of its protective scenario, because eye spots on other types of butterflies tend to ward off predators. So something you could have seen if that's what was going on here. I don't know. That would just be a little extra if that was what was going on here. But I think the nature title captures a lot of good information. Next.
White-lined sphinx moth caterpillar, one of three. Thousands of these 6-inch caterpillars, Hyles lineata, voraciously ate desert sand verbena, Abronia villosa, at the Anza Borrega State Park Super Bloom in March 2019. The caterpillars devoured the desert sand verbena in the Arroyo Salada area. Once they finished the flowers, next they stripped the leaves.
And there, go ahead. Sorry.
It was amazing to experience these large mature moth larvae with their strong mandibles wipe out the Arroyo Super Bloom in just 24 hours.
Wow. Okay. Hungry little creatures, aren't they? A lot of wonderful information in each of the frames. I think each frame adds a lot of information, not only in the title, but the image, what we're seeing, and that matches the image. And for me, this is a very strong nature story, very well depicted, because I've not seen these critters, these specific critters before, and it tells me that you don't always get super blooms. So this was not a regular occurrence. Somebody really had a plan to go down there and capture this at this particular time. So, and I just love the coloring of these caterpillars. And the last one shows how hungry, and he's chewing on it and how he's holding it. Really good nature story. Okay, next.
Monochrome basic, 3 images.
Still water.
Okay, well, yes, it is still water. For me, the title emphasizes the water more than the egret, which I guess is fine. I'm glad that there's a nice circular pool of water around the egret's face as he's ducking into the still water. That makes it more visually interesting for me. I find it a little muted, and I'm not sure. I think it needs a little bit, either increase the brightness just a tad, or go into exposure and increase the exposure just a little bit. For me, it's lacking just a tad of extra punch. Okay, next.
Hydrangeas over winter.
Okay, I have no idea that it's winter, but that's not important. You know, it's in the title and I'll accept that. I like the detail of the blossoms. Okay, I guess it's winter because it doesn't have a lot of blossoms and there's some dead parts in the middle. But I like the definition in the foreground blossoms. The background is a little busy and splotchy and bright. And I think I would have done some burning to get rid of all that bright spots, all in the background. If you made that more toned down, I could read the main blossoms on this hydrangea a little bit more strongly, but it's just a tad busy. Next.
North Fork of the Kings River.
Okay, a nice capture of doing that soft, silky water, a longer exposure, or maybe with a neutral density filter on the camera. Looks like it's flowing over some rocks in the foreground. They're well depicted, nice grays. There are the whites are handled well. There's no real strong hot spots. There is good definition pretty much in all the rocks in the background as well. I think the cropping makes sense. You know, it shows the 2 flows of water, not too much sky because the sky was not a big part of the story. So, and a fairly good range of grays, values of grays. Okay, next.
Monochrome intermediate, 6 images.
Open spaces. Camel thorn 3. Bachelia areoloba. In the savanna near the Etosha Pan, with a herd of wildebeest in the far distance. Etosha National Park, Namibia.
Okay, a lot of good information. For pictorial, monochrome, or color, it's not necessary to have all that much information, but it does. I feel it doesn't necessarily take away from the image at all. I love the fact that the tree is the main star, and there's good definition in the foliage on the tree. The actual trunk of the tree is dark, but I actually don't mind that I can't see any texture in it. It still works for me. I'm wondering why there's so much sky shown in this image though, because the top half of the image, there's not that much going on. Yeah, there's some dark vignetting or clouds at the top, which help keep your eye in the image, but I think I would have cropped a lot of that off and made this a panorama, cropped practically that whole top third off. And that, I think that would have emphasized the main star and the environment that the main star of this image lives in. Good gray tones though in it. Okay, next.
Meditation.
After the first day of direct
Okay, I'm really enjoying the quality of light in this image, how the rays come out from the sun and light up the underside of those little clouds, and then how you get the little clouds and you get the underside of the bigger clouds in the sky. Nice water glints of lighting on the water. And actually, even on the grasses in the foreground, it's got glints of light on different blades of grass. But for me, the bonus is that there's a person in the left corner, very tiny, but he or she is looking out at this lovely scene. So I think this is well handled, a lot of interesting tones, no real hot spots. A lot of good grays and a nice quality of light. Next.
Living in the shadows.
Okay, well, we have some interesting rhinoceros here. And there are shadows, clearly, but I'm not sure if they're living in each other's shadows or how that works out as part of the title and the story. This is monochrome, so I don't have to worry about a nature story. It's a bit contrasty for me, though. The shadows do have some definition, but they're so contrasted next to the lighter form of the actual animals. And also the grays are kind of the same values throughout. There's not a lot of variation in the grays. So I think I might have lightened the shadows just a tad and maybe done some burning on different parts of the animals that I wanted to emphasize different parts of the animal structure, and maybe a little sharpening. It's just a tad soft in the foreground. Next.
A blast from the past.
Okay, an interesting scene for me in that you have all these elements, these saws and straps, which tend to be kind of busy, but the fact that they're all kind of grayed out and there's such a strong light on this poster, the blast from the past, that I think it works very well, because even though it's got a busy background all around it, stuff, the light clearly flows onto the main subject, the poster of this person who, I guess he was president or going to be president. Not sure. Anyhow, I think it works very well exactly the way it is. Next.
Mountain road.
What captures me in this is the quality of light. I am a sucker for those God rays, and this is very well depicted in that manner. I can totally feel and see how the light is flowing through the trees, landing on the pathway. The pathway takes me from the foreground down into the foreground. There's not a ton of definition in all the trees, but some of the trees, like the tree on the far left, have some good definition in it. And I think this works, even though the darks are on the dark side. There's another tree that has good definition. So I don't think I'd change anything. Next.
First impressions. Wounded Veterans Polo Benefit in Santa Rosa, California, August the 18th, 2019.
Okay, a lot of information in the title. It's fine to leave that all in for pictorial, but it's probably more information that you don't necessarily need for pictorial. I think it would work if you just said first impressions, and I don't care where it's from because it's more of a, it's not necessarily a journalist shot. Love the horses. I really like the fact that the maker has come in very tight on these animals and that they're animals chosen the moment where they're interacting like this. And also the maker has chosen a nice aperture where the background is nicely blurred out, but the animals are very well defined and sharp. You've got little catch lights in their eyes. You can see the hairs on their noses, and the texture in their mane and their fur. So, and the grays, there's enough variety in the tones and the grays and the darks are well defined. So I don't think I would change anything in this image. Next.
Monochrome Advanced, 8 images.
Sonoma County Winter Vista.
Okay. Well, I'm enjoying the fact that the maker has a path right in the foreground that I can go down this wonderful road or path. And for me, the main stars are these 2 trees that are totally bare in the front. But because you have additional trees going down the path, I am able to enjoy, my eye can move through the whole image. I'm glad the maker darkened the sky above the trees. That helps me stay in the frame because once you get into where the trees are, it's a little brighter, a little whiter, so that dark sky helps a lot. Everything's really sharp. And I don't think I would change anything in this image. Next.
Eyes left.
Okay, I think the maker has captured this at a good moment with everybody looking in the same direction, with their ears picked up. Also fortunate that you've got a nice sky with some clouds, some interesting clouds. I do find this one vertical pole in front of the one horse. I know it's part of a fence that fell down, but I do find it annoying because the main stars are these 3 horses. And in pictorial, you can do pretty much whatever you want to. So I think that I would take that vertical pole and I would content aware or clone it out so that it's not competing with that one horse. Okay, next.
Steel Wave.
Well, I think the title matches what I'm seeing quite well. It does look like a wave and it's clearly metal. You can see, from all the rivets in the various pieces of metal. And the way the light falls on this, I find very, very interesting. There are no real hot spots. Even the dark areas in shadow have good definition. It's an interesting shape. I'm enjoying the fact that it arcs from the left side of the frame through the middle and then arcs to the right side of the frame, so it takes me through the whole thing. I think it would work with or without the little white cloud above. That adds a touch of reality, and if that were taken out, it would be more of an artistic statement. So either way, I think this works well. Next.
A solitary life on a barren sea of sand.
Okay, well, the title really brings me right into the tiny little plant. I don't know whether it's a plant or a tree, it doesn't really matter. It's something else. It's the one object in this scene that's different, that stands out, that brings your eye right there. But the beautiful sweeping of the dunes is very appealing because the dunes have a lot of good texture in them, particularly the first dune in the upper right-hand corner. And it's very appealing to me to see how the edges of each of these dunes are lit on the edge lighting appealing. So I don't think there's any real hot spots. You've got some darks in the third dune in the back. I think it works the way it is. Next.
The glass and iron dome and the barrel vaulted ceilings in Milan's Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, a major shopping center near the Milan Cathedral.
Okay, a very nice depiction of this structure. Wonderful angle chosen. There's lots to look at. It's busy, but it's a very ornate structure. So of course it's going to be a bit busy. I think the barrel ceilings on these two sides are very strong elements coming in. And then this amazing dome, the maker showed half the dome and the structure of it are very appealing. It's very sharp throughout. As far as the grays, there's some variation. There's no real strong black. The only thing I could recommend is I think I would do a little bit more on the contrast slider, just a tad to bring the contrast up because it's just a little flat. But the handling of all the light areas is really well done. There's really nothing too hot or too bright anywhere. Next.
Final verdict.
Cute title. It's like, okay, do you like this? Look in the mirror. I love the expression on the fellow, well, on both fellows. The fellow holding the mirror, it's like, okay, are you satisfied? So what? And the guy sitting in the chair going, I don't know. There's a lot of nice values of gray in this image, good texture too in the background wall. Nothing really hot. There's good texture in the hair and the beard even. So I think this image is really well depicted in monochrome. I mean, I don't think it's a great moment to capture. Next.
Lone tree.
Okay, well, for me, this is a very dramatic image, and it's dramatic because of the lighting and the treatment or the way the maker has handled the sky being so dark really puts all the focus on this lone tree. I'm glad the maker has left some foregrounds so that the tree is rooted. Clearly, the maker feels that the story is about the tree in this huge, vast sky, which is so dramatic because there's so much sky in this image. And in this image, I think that works well. I don't think I'd change anything. Next.
Majestic mountains of Death Valley.
Okay, wonderful tones in this image. I'm really enjoying the long panorama format because we're seeing so many different mountains with shadows and different textures in the shadows and peaks. Wonderful sky with all those fluffy clouds. There's no real hot spots anywhere in the clouds. They're handled quite well. And then we get to see some of the foliage on the bottom that's all very sharp. Great depth of field in this image from the beginning to the background all the way throughout. And that foreground is a nice base for these mountains. So again, I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Masters monochrome, 9 images.
Making ripples.
Okay, good title. Clearly this egret is making ripples, and for me, the ripples are just delightful. The pattern and tones in the ripples is really the main part of the story, even though you have the maker of making the ripples. The egret is handled quite well. There's no real hot spots, and it's nice to see the definition in the tail, the fluffiness of the feathers. So I like the fact that the egret is off to one side and he has plenty of space on the right side of the frame as the ripples fall out through the water. So I don't think I'd change anything in this image. Next.
Conversation at the window.
Okay, a tough image to shoot because of being inside a relatively dark area and having a bright window in front of you. But I think the maker did a reasonably good job of handling that. I particularly like the way the light falls on the child's face. There's a nice catch light in his eye. His cheek is highlighted. On the woman's face, you get to see her eye fairly well on her glasses. I don't think that the window is particularly bright, so I think that's handled reasonably well. I would only like a little bit more definition in the clothing in both of these people, because there's not a lot going on in the garment in the back of this woman. And if you tried to work with levels, perhaps, or with dodging, that might bring a little more texture out in the garment and give it a little more interest. And the same with the child's garment. There's some nice light on his shoulder and his arm, but the rest of the garment becomes more like a black blob. So I would try to bring some more texture out of that by dodging or doing levels. Next.
Waiting for Godot, 2020.
Okay, great title. It does look like he's waiting for Godot, or at least waiting. And I'm really enjoying the angle of view that the maker chose to tilt this image into. I mean, it makes some, it could have been very static if it were straight across, but as you can see, the maker tilted it up, and it gives a nice diagonal and kind of throws it into that waiting for Godot sense. I like the expression on the man's face. The environment itself is full of wonderful texture, nice tones. You've got some good darks. There's a lot of good definition in his dark garment, but it's well defined. Good grays, different grays throughout. and very interesting lines in the overall, the circles and the arcs throughout. So I think this works well. Next.
Old wooden dhows near the Somalia border, Kenya.
Okay. I really enjoy the angle of view the maker's chosen to show this boat, the main subject, and yet it's framed by a big chunk of sail from the boat that the maker must be on. It's fortunate that this big sail on that in the foreground has a lot of interesting dirt and texture on it that makes it interesting visually, I think, and all that gray and texture. Nice sky. I can see in the upper left corner that something was going on. Nice ripples and a sense of light in the water. And I think that the maker has made the people in the tiny boat fairly visible. Maybe you've done a little dodging, and I think that might have helped. The only thing I could recommend, and it's very minor, is maybe under the arc of the frame of the sail, the sky area in there, I might have just burnt that just a hair, because the sky in the upper left corner is so dark. I think I would try and make that a little darker so you could feel that was that piece of sky was connected. But I think this is fairly successful, quite successful actually. Next.
Aklama Estate at Sara Lee's Vineyard.
Well, a very interesting structure to me, and I think very well depicted. You know, all the textures in the wood are very easy to read. There's lots of verticals and diagonals and horizontals to lines to bring you into the scene and wander about. So you can spend time here looking at all the detail. Even though there's so much going on, the fact that it's monochrome and the tones that are in the values of grays here help to simplify the image. So it's for me, it's not busy at all. It's very appealing. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Rising into the clouds.
Okay, I'm enjoying how the clouds kind of filter in, particularly at the top of the frame, and I don't know whether those clouds are being reflected down below or not, but it doesn't really matter. You get that kind of cloudy, misty feeling throughout. I think there's a little bit of black in the structure. How do I explain this? Vertical line, but there's not a lot of contrast, and probably that's because it's so misty and cloudy. I think I would have cranked up the contrast slider just a bit to give it a little more punch, even though I know you want to emphasize the cloudy, smoky feel. Next.
Houston, we have a problem here.
Cute title. I guess the lawnmower isn't working very well, or maybe you can't handle those tall grasses, probably. The house looks kind of decrepit, so you're out in the middle of nowhere, and maybe they abandoned it. It gives me a lot to look at and stories to make up. I'm enjoying that. The tones in this image are very nice, particularly in the grasses. You got a nice sky, something going on. There's some good texture in the wood structure as well. So I don't see any really horribly bright areas. There's really not. In fact, the brightest thing is probably the body of the lawnmower. But since that's kind of like the star of the image, it's okay because that's where my eye goes. So I don't think I would change anything in this image. Next.
Wandering zebras.
Okay, I'm really enjoying the moment the maker has captured, where these two zebras are obviously running quite fast. You can see all the nice dirt and dust that are being kicked up. I think that the darkening and burning in all around the zebras really turn this into a piece of art, which I'm enjoying. It's mostly, well, no, it's you've got the blacks and the whites. The whites are not too bright, but you've got some nice grays in the part where the dirt and dust are being kicked up. So I think this works quite well, and I don't think I would change anything. And it's pretty sharp.
Flamingo duo.
Okay, well, I'm enjoying the moment that the maker chose. The fact that you've got two flamingos and they're crossing one another and they're making that little heart shape is very pleasing. And it takes it out of the nature realm in terms of the black and white and cropping into the pictorial realm, which I think works well. No real strong bright spots. I also like the black background. Looks like you might have had a cloud back there or something. If you look at the left flamingo, go all the way down to the lower part of its neck, there's a dark area that has a little white blob in it. And I think I just would have cloned that out because everything else is pretty much flat black. And the same with this wing on that same bird. And there's a little triangle that's sort of light gray. I think I would have burnt that off too. But those are very picky. Okay, next.
Okay, we have two images and non-compete for your critique.
Okay.
Three Amigos at Stump Beach 1.2.
Okay. Very interesting angle of view. The water is very interestingly depicted. Lots of good tones in it. The rocks are also handled well, all kinds of texture. I can see that they talk about three amigos, and you can see the three structures, which are the main stars. Of course, there's other rock formations around it. I think for a monochrome, this works really well. I don't look at this as a realistic necessarily portrayal of this place. I look at it as more of a piece of art. I wouldn't change anything. Next.
Bodhi bedroom.
Okay.
Oh.
I love, this is a shot that could be hard to get because you're probably shooting through a window. I don't think they let you inside a lot of these places. And I think this is well captured. It really shows the colors and tones and the decrepitness and how back in the 1930s, everybody picked up and left this place. I'm wondering the window on the right side, there's a person looking in. And for me, that brings me right back to current times and takes me out of the old-timey feeling of the overall image. So I think I would have cropped that part of the window and that person out, because I like staying back in the 1930s, and I don't like her or him looking in there. But that's just me. Okay, next.
Okay. So now we'll take another five-minute break, and then we'll come back with the winners.
Okay.
Creative Basic, we have 3 images. Get my pointer here. Third place, Elizabeth.
Right.
Bright colors.
Thank you. This is a Photoshop filter, and it's like doing watercolor because you lose control of it during the process. So I probably did it about 5 times to get the peonies where I wanted them, but thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Second place, Mark.
Hey there, just a telephoto shot on a tripod over Rankin Valley.
Not even a composite.
No, I just
Oh my
waited
God.
for it to come up and rise and
Wow.
Wow.
snapped a bunch of shots of it.
Very nice.
That's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And first place, Laura.
Right.
I do want to say there is a rabbit. It's little tiny guy in the very center. There's a rabbit in the rabbit hole.
I can see it.
Way in
Yeah,
the-
it's really
How
cool.
did
I
you
saw
do this,
that.
Laura?
I saw that too.
It's you hang lights from like LED lights, like keychain lights from a string, and it's like a pendulum. And then you
Oh, cool.
you put your camera facing up on long exposure.
Uh-huh.
Nice
Oh,
photo.
Laura, that
Very
is,
creative.
Yeah.
you have to teach us how to do that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those things that comes up on Facebook. Oh, pay so much and sign up for my class. And this guy has some creative stuff, and this was the first one was doing this light thing. And so yeah, the problem is you can't recreate. I mean, you do it once and you can never get that same design again. It's hard to,
Perfect.
You only need it once.
Fine.
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't even get it close.
Good job.
Wonderful.
I got to see how she did it. It's
Yeah, there's a field trip.
Laura's garage.
Laura's garage.
Okay, creative
Congratulations.
intermediate, 2 images. Second place, Betsy.
I don't think she's here tonight.
Yeah, I didn't see her.
Mm-mm.
First place, Ronnie.
All right, Ronnie.
Yeah,
Very nice.
That is
Congratulations.
wonderful.
Yeah.
it's so powerful, Ronnie.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I was working on this. It was a rose, and I had it on my screen, and I started watching, what was happening in Washington, and I was crying. I mean, I was horrified, and this kind of made itself in the sense that, it was in color, and, color just wouldn't work. And I made it, I converted it to black and white, and then I played around with the center, and then the tear just happened.
You really captured it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a strong one.
Thank you.
Love this, Ronnie.
How did you texturize the flower?
It's a topaz motion blur.
Huh.
Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bless you.
That's another
Creative
token.
advance, 6 images.
Wearing masks.
Honorable mention.
All right.
Tricia.
Oh,
Okay, so there's a tree and it has this round reddish knob,
Yes.
very, very breast-like
knob.
knob. It has a nipple on it, which I'm sure used to be a branch that got cut off. And I saw that and it was like, oh my God, I'm looking for you. And I liked it better when I made it so that the two halves, the part in the center is the same, but the other part is a doubling.
Oh,
You
cool.
did mirror it.
Yeah.
Did you
Anyway,
warp
thank-
it?
Huh?
Did you warp it?
No, I didn't warp it. I just,
Have you, did you think of doubling the whole picture? Like giving.
two of them, Kevin, no. No, I didn't.
You'd have to retitle it.
It's wonderful.
That's
Sure.
the best.
Any input?
Very clever, Tricia.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Very good. Congratulations.
Honorable mention, Linda.
Oh, thank you. This was sunrise in Port Aransas, Texas, on the canal that these huge ships go by every morning to go to Corpus Christi. But got a bit of help trying to figure out how to get some more bird, one more bird, flipped it over. Right, Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Honorable mention, Bill Clark. I don't think Bill is here tonight.
I've gone it.
No?
Listen, Bill.
Third place, Tara.
All right. All right.
Hi, this is a kind of yeast that was growing on a vegetable ferment. Macro shot. It was just so fascinating. I took so many pictures.
I would have never guessed.
Beautiful.
It wasn't purple like this. I tried to make it so it would look like something that didn't look like anything real.
I
Is
like
it
the color
microscopic? No, just a macro.
Yeah, neat.
Wow.
Fabulous.
This looks like a Tara image. Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right. Very cool.
Right away. It's like,
You end up eating it?
No. It's not unsafe, but it alters the flavor.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
Second place, Bill.
oh,
This is great.
Well, see, Jane, you were right. It is a flower, and I started with a regular flower with the petals on it, and the image just didn't look right. So I started selecting the center part and pulled the exposure down on the outside, and did numerous hue and saturation touch-ups in the center, and then lastly ran it through a high pass filter to
Wow.
kind of make it very electric looking. So this is right when they were really starting to hype up all the mutations with the virus. So that's exactly what I was going for.
I want a vaccine from that thing.
Yeah.
It might hurt going in.
Congratulations.
That's great.
Too funny, Bill. Good job.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
You know, the toughest thing about this was to get the timing of the bird to completely obscure the jets.
How many passes did the bird have to make?
They can go back and forth until I got it right. So it's an old picture I have of the Blue Angels that I did many years ago, and I was trying to figure out something I could do to make it a little more creative, and I got the idea of the bird with the flying along next to him, just enjoying himself. So that's what
Perfect formation.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the contrail.
It's like, why didn't I think of that? Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those images. Why didn't I think?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Creative Masters, 3 images. Honorable mention, Steve.
All right, Steve.
Thank you. This old image, it's a macro shot of a stream of water from my kitchen faucet, illuminated by the red lights from a headlight. And the color in the center is picked up from the reflection from ambient light from the outdoors. That's where the green and the white is coming from.
Very cool.
Nice.
It looks like a figure. Beautiful.
It looks feminine.
Yeah, very feminine.
Yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
I think I saw this on Northern Exposure. Didn't you bring this in? Oh, our photo club. Did you bring this in, Steve?
Great.
It's from way back.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Second place, brother Mike.
Wow.
Oh, thanks. I took this, the bubbles I took at the Steelhead Festival
I knew that.
a year ago, I guess, it was about a year ago or two that we went now.
A year, yeah.
And I saw that guy with the bubbles and I said, I got to use this for something. And then the two boys of my two youngest grandsons, they have all these water toys in their backyard. And I have thousands of pictures of them, so I picked a couple of them. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Cool.
Really good, Mike.
very fun.
You're going to start having to pay them.
Seriously.
Okay.
Water release.
Take them to Safari West.
Yeah, I will.
In first place.
Oh, God.
Yay, Terry.
Yeah, beautiful.
Here are but shadows on the wall. These are a combination of two photos, both taken in London. One was the grayer or brown gray, is just one of the townhouses. And the red is the old Vic, Shakespearean Vic.
Wow.
And I use Flaming Pear, Flexify, and they are just so much fun to do.
Wow.
I was very happy when they named it itself, which
Oh,
pleased me
awesome.
too.
I saw that in your creative
you.
online and I was blown away.
Yeah, me
Still
too.
blown away.
Yeah, that's nice, Terry.
They are so much fun.
Very nice.
Very good balance.
I want to learn.
Thank you.
Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very unique.
Thank you.
Pictorial Basic, 3 images. Third place, Elizabeth.
Nice. All right.
I can't say enough about Ocean Beach. It's pretty fabulous. You just take your camera and magic things happen. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Cool. Yeah.
It's that leading edge of the water.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It looks serene.
Good job, Elizabeth. Nice.
Love the palette too.
Yeah. The light on the horizon.
Second place, Fritz.
Well, this is a photo of one of our favorite places up in the High Sierra. And I probably have 10,000 shots at this area. So you'll be seeing more of these. So
How many miles did you hike?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
it's the same place. It's 30 miles in. You we kind of figured
Just
out
30.
where was the farthest away from a trail you could ever get to, and that's where we. This is
Gorgeous.
You guys should lead a field trip.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll
Let's
send
do
my
it. Let's do
grub.
it. No.
No.
Agreed.
No, Tony says.
In first place,
Oh,
Mark.
Very cool.
Hey.
There.
Oh, nice.
Just finished breakfast in Sedona and he kept coming to my plate, so I started shooting it.
Fantastic.
That is wonderful.
Got
You are
agate
focused
eyeballs.
as well, Mark.
Pardon me?
Focus.
Mr. Macro.
I know, yeah.
I do like
Yes,
macro.
seriously.
Thank you.
I was thinking if you wanted to make it creative, you could make that plate into somebody's face or any number of things.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's so perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
Made a nice reflector too, huh?
I thought it was Pence's head.
That's a good one.
Very good.
You win it.
I'll change the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Creative.
Vince's bald spot.
Good job.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
Pictorial Intermediate, 5 images. Greg,
Yeah, I took this photo down in a neighborhood in the north end of Sonoma. And I was more fascinated with the background in this photo than I was the rose, but I liked how the rose came out too.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I like the format.
good.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Honorable mention, Gus.
I don't think he's here.
He was here earlier.
Gus here.
He needs a seagull in this one.
Or maybe the tip of a wing.
Maybe more
Bridge,
seagulls.
you know? Nice.
Formation of seagulls.
3rd place, Matt.
Wow.
Great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, these are some amazing dunes down in Namibia. Hard to get to, but worthwhile if you can ever get there.
Is that Fritz on top?
I was gonna say no.
Yeah.
How far did you hike into this one?
Well, this wasn't a hiking expedition, although we did go up on top of some of the dunes. This is a road trip.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Rented a 4x4 and drove around for about 3 weeks.
Very cool.
Oh, really?
Love the colors.
Congratulations.
Great image.
2nd place,
Mary.
Oh, thank you so much. This is I was driving up to take the shot of the winding road in the redwoods, and this caught my eye, and it was a view I had when I worked as a teen, so I was glad to see it and capture it.
Beautiful.
Pretty.
Beautiful.
Jerry.
nice.
Really gorgeous.
Congratulations.
Beautiful.
Great light.
1st place, Ronnie.
Funny.
Thank you. I have been trying to become a bird photographer with varying success. And I discovered that when I take away the feeder to, clean it and change the water, they keep coming to, to look for it. And that's the only way I can get them without having feeder in the photo. So I did this on purpose. I had my camera ready and I, just kept shooting. And I finally got my shutter to the right speed, and it was the right time of day and everything came together. So thank you.
Nice capture.
Beautiful.
Where did
Hey,
you like
lady.
What'd you do for the background?
What's the light coming
It-
down from the top?
That was in the photo. I did strengthen the center line there just to make it, I don't know, creative. But I didn't really do anything to the background. It was dark because the light was, over my right shoulder, and it was really strong, and I didn't do anything to it.
Great shot.
Cool.
What's the main light? What's the main light, Ronnie? You say it came from your right shoulder, but what produced
it? Was
okay.
Yeah, it was like 4:30 in the afternoon, maybe close to 5. I don't remember exactly, but it was before 5, like between 4 and 5, and
Yeah.
the sun was pretty low, and
Nice quality and direction. I liked it. Yeah.
If
Beautiful.
if you plant a lot of native flowering plants, you can get a lot of pictures of them without the feeder.
Yes.
They're very fond of sage for one.
I do.
And penstemon as well.
I do, but they're lazy.
Salvia.
Yeah.
They're lazy and they like to drink out of the feeder, you know.
They also like to drink out of a hose, but it's hard to hold the hose and the camera at the same
Right.
time.
Haven't figured that one out. I do. They love the salvias, but they really like the feeder.
2 years today.
Nice.
Thanks. Thank you.
Pictorial Advance, 6 images. Honorable mention, Bob.
Oh, this was taken, it's on Route 12, north of Sonoma, I think south of Oakmont. And this was, there's an old walnut grove on the west side of the highway. And I happened to be, well, I knew that that this scene was sitting there, and I waited till I had a journey that would take me there late afternoon, and I went prepared, to take photos. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get the sun in there behind those branches and get that light, and then nature took care of the rest.
Gorgeous.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Really beautiful. Love the light.
Looks like fog on the ground.
I would print that pretty big.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. It's nice.
Honorable mention, Phil.
Oh, this is my wife's favorite hibiscus plant. I was watching the sun go down and I saw the sun hit the back of the plant, and I ran to get my camera, came back, but it was too late. So next day at sunset, I was all set up and ready to go, and got this one along with a couple of other good ones.
Really beautiful.
Nice.
Very pretty.
Really.
Very nice.
I saw the beak and the nose. And I
Yeah.
noticed how, pets are supposed to resemble their owners. Just love this image. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Nice jobs.
Great image. I love the nose.
Good eye, mate.
Yeah.
Good eye.
Did you give it to him?
Congratulations. Third place, Gary.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's at the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. It's like southern Colorado. And they're the highest dunes in the North American continent. But you'll see the little guy in the lead there. He's got some kind of a board. But a lot of kids go up there and they bring sandboards or their snowboards, and they'll actually use them to go down the slopes because they're real steep like that. So it's just really fun to try to get people involved in climbing these, and it's just a really fun place to visit.
The lighting is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
epic
really
lighting.
is.
Yeah, I mean, the
Lines.
sky, everything looks terrific.
Nice soft feel.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah,
Wonderful
okay.
shot, Eric. Wonderful.
The sand in the center in the background looks like it's blowing, or it's very soft and hazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was a good shot. Yeah. Then I had to bring it out though, and this was in the raw capture, it was kind of flat. So I had to bring out that and then sharpen the people a little bit.
Yeah.
So is the top sky, or is that more dunes?
No, that's more dunes. They keep going up.
Okay.
They're very high dunes. They're way higher than what you see in Death Valley and like that.
I just love the tonality of that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I thought it was gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
Very nice.
Congratulations.
Thank
Second
you.
place, Guy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I passed, this is down in Palm Springs near that windmill farm down there, and passed this thing several times, and I went by and had the stop of this incredibly dramatic sky. It's not a composite. It looks just like this. Probably 15 minutes after I took this picture, they closed that road. 50-mile-an-hour winds blowing through there, and the road was completely buried with the sand coming up off this windmill farm. So it's a fairly common occurrence down there in the desert. And they were always closing this road, and the skies there are just incredible. I don't remember doing, I may have done some color grading on the sky, but I think it really had this coffee color to it. And That's what it came up with.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Wonderful. image.
Really
You
impactful.
can just
stuff, really
feel it.
dramatic. Good
In
job.
first place, Steve.
Mm,
Oh,
I
wow.
love this, Steve. Oh,
Well, this is
Basically
our,
go back.
our recent Death Valley trip. My first trip was on a motorcycle, zooming through in the middle of the day and going, God, I wish I could be here with good weather. And this is time number 2 where Debbie and I went recently, and it was just astounding. We saw snow, there's rain. If you look in the very distance, there's rain coming down, and the salt had been wet. It had rained here earlier. So rain zipped through here and went the other way. We were in the rain and drove this direction and stopped. And I look back and I go, I see the light, I see the rain. And I hot-footed out there and took a number of shots, and I was very, very blessed. Got a lot of good shots from here, and this is one of my 3 favorites probably.
I'll say, last time I was there, they were so trampled, I just left in disgust.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Your timing for that trip was
You got
perfect.
that
Oh yeah.
Never seen it look like that.
Accurate timing.
Very nice.
Composition's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out good. I took quite a few shots, a lot of vertical panoramas, different lenses. I did a lot with this, and it would take me a while to even go through them all and try and figure out. But this was my 24mm lens, and the vertical panorama. I tried lower, and I didn't like it, and then a little bit higher, kind of partially crouched down was the ticket. So anyway, thank you.
Great image.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Pictorial Masters, 6 images. Honorable mentions, Steve Ruddy.
Yeah, thank you. Was originally a fashion shoot. The model was waiting for me to set my lights for the next shot. She already had her outfit on for this location. And I was setting the light, and camera run high, and I noticed the nice sculpture on her back, and I asked, so I had her adjust and took the shot.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I could have sworn it was a guy.
I know.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Me too. I'm impressed.
Thought it was.
She's ripped.
Yeah, I guess.
Mountain climber.
Yeah,
That'll do
climber.
it. That'll do it.
Very surprised.
Recognize those doors, Steve.
Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you.
Really nice.
Good colors.
Palette.
Honorable mention, Tony.
This was shot with Mike, and we were up. No.
Which one's Mike?
Sorry.
We were up atop Mount Sonoma, and he started shooting away, and I said, I don't shoot critters. And this kept getting better and better, and I shot it, and he goes, "You shot a critter." So the light was just perfect. And
Love that little piece of hay and it's the baby's mouth.
yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Very nice.
I like the star thistle in the front too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Really nice. Yeah, nice. Good job, Tony.
Honorable mention,
Yay.
Kim.
Oh, love this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Those colors are gorgeous.
It's hard to find one that hasn't been carved on.
Yeah.
Kim was here earlier, but
That's beautiful.
He cloned that out.
Gary, what was that place we went to where they had the
Cardinal Mines.
Yeah.
Cardinal Mountains in,
That's
yeah,
what those
up
reminded
above
me
Bishop.
of. That road that goes in there.
Yeah.
Really
Stunning
beautiful.
place.
Nice, Tim.
This is so
I love this, Perry.
Third
want
place,
to hear
Terry.
more about this one.
Wow.
Oh,
Where were
thank
you?
you.
Pardon?
Where were you?
It's a technique. Try this again. It's a technique I'm using that I like a lot, and I like the negative space in it. That's about it.
Very cool.
Great.
What was the rest of the scene?
It was a building. It had windows. And if you are familiar with Matt Kay, he does a technique where he blurs the backgrounds, and it can be very effective.
Uh-huh.
I love this. And it breaks all the rules, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the yellow in the door, that was your addition?
Well, that's the thing about becoming a master. That means that you are the rules.
Well, actually, you know, he's in the what is it, 2/3 or whatever, and it's just negative space is used.
Right.
So rules are just tools.
Yeah, true.
Very
Nice, Terry.
Congratulations, Terry.
Getting so creative.
Second place.
Wow.
It's a mind blower. What a place.
Thank you. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute. Yeah, it was such a great eye that our judge Jane caught the fact that there's a sign there that says The Rock, because it's actually a restaurant. It's kind of a well-known, well,
Hey.
for Zanzibar, it's a well-known weird restaurant called The Rock.
Wow.
And it is just a rock, and it's eroded out. And when you go at higher tide, like when we went to eat, we had to get a little bit wet to get to the stairs to walk up, because the tide was in the middle. And then when we left, tide was low, so we could just walk right out. I don't know how underwater the stairs are at high tide, because I only went there once. Bizarrely expensive Italian restaurant for what it looks like. But it was actually fairly good.
Do you know if the tide ever comes up to the rock part? I mean, not where it goes down.
Well, it has to, because it's eroded it away. So the waves have to at least, have eroded that off. Because the ground, the house is sitting on the ground, on the top. So everything, the light part that you see is just a layer that hasn't eroded as much, and then the rock is eroding underneath.
Wow.
So it's kind of bizarre. And the little deck off the back is, if you ever go to Zanzibar and you go to the Rock, I'm not necessarily recommending it, because there are better places to go probably. And there's a pretty crappy little village in front of it to capture anybody who's bothering to go out here to the Rock. But you just go out to that little deck and have a cocktail, and don't pay the $30 for a really bad, for an okay Italian dinner. But it's kind of one of those things you have to just go and see, because there's not that much to see in Zanzibar except Stone Town and the beaches. So
I'm glad I got to see it.
You not have to pay $30 for the dinner.
Cool looking place. Lovely clouds. Clouds are great.
Yeah, perfect.
Amazing, amazing clouds.
Thank you.
Just gorgeous.
In first place. Tamara.
Oh, I won't unmute. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, these are just these Samburu kids. Some of the warriors were doing something else, and they live in these compounds. They call them bomas, where they're all made out of sticks, so they can fence the areas to keep the lions or whatever out from coming in and eating their goats and all their livestock. And so there literally is their fences that they use, made out of these. There's a little taller and more elaborate one than you usually see, and we were watching. It's one of those turn around and see what's behind you, because we were out in the middle of nowhere in northern Kenya. We were watching these other kids and these warriors who were doing things, and I turned around and saw these kids peeking out of their little break in the fence, watching what we were doing. And so I thought it was kind of interesting. And then they were wearing blue clothes. So
cool. Love your tree.
Nice.
Great shot.
Good choice.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
Somebody's cursor is on the image.
Oh, sorry. That's me.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, nature, 3 images, basic.
Fritz.
Fritz.
Well, this is, again, another photo from Namibia. There was controversy about whether I should have shown the giraffe that was making the reflection or not. I thought it would have been just sort of a ho-hum image of a giraffe in a waterfall. So I kind of took the shot that was dark, where you couldn't actually see the giraffe that was making the reflection. So I thought it was a better photo. So that's what I did.
Good choice.
Very nice.
Yeah, the danger of the locations is interesting. Second place, Mark.
Hey there. Yeah, I don't know if any of you know where Cullinan Ranch is, but it's along the Sears Highway 37 on the north side, and it's a little turnout. Every time I go there, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. If you're trying to get some really nice bird shots and that, it's becoming one of my favorite places, especially this time of year.
That's great.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I've got to bring my cursor back.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
First place, Laura.
I knew it. I love it.
It's a
Great
beautiful
eye.
portrait.
There we go. Yeah, the coyotes out there, they're some are more apprehensive than others. I'm actually starting to watch kind of the faces on some of them when I see photos to see. This one, I had my big 75, 80-pound dog when we were out for a walk, and I saw him and he just kind of laid down, and Derby and I went to another spot, and Derby laid down and I sat down, and we sat and watched this guy for about 15 minutes and didn't seem bothered by the fact we were there. It was pretty cool. It was a really neat thing to watch him. So
A beautiful image.
Fabulous.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Love that red in his ear.
yeah, the light shining through the back.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And the eyes, the
Nice.
expression.
Yep.
Yeah. Really.
Persistence is paying off. Congrats.
Nature intermediate, 4 images. Honorable mention, Sherry.
Oh,
Nice, Sherry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know if you noticed the guy in the middle's got 1 leg. And
Yeah.
I couldn't make a nature story out of that, but he fascinated me, and I didn't notice it at the time because they move so fast. But he's in the middle of every shot I took. So just for his
about that.
Yeah, just for his survival skills, I think he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, how does he make it? Wow.
I'm guessing he flies a lot.
I don't know. You couldn't tell.
Kevin.
Doesn't seem to stop him.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
sweet.
Oops, sorry about that. Let me make sure I got that right. Okay. Third place, Pat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, actually, baby elephants do play. I can tell you, we watched a lot of baby elephants play. It was a huge herd that came through, and we kind of feel very fortunate that our car didn't get, no one was interested in us because we were surrounded by a huge herd coming through. And then they came to a water hole and started, settling down. And there were a lot of baby elephants around. And this is just one of the episodes of play that we watched them engage in while we were kind of sitting there watching these beautiful animals. Incredible, really.
That must have been fun.
Very cool.
Neat.
Second place, Betsy. And Betsy's not here.
Oh, that's a beautiful series.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice shot of the bird.
Pretty close up.
Yeah.
Capturing that worm
Look at that.
is unbelievable.
That's a great capture. The
That's a
second
great
Yeah.
shot. So sharp. And first place, Greg.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
Really, Greg?
Yeah, I was looking at the date of this. I took this in March of last year.
Hmm.
And I was just amazed at these birds. They targeted this elderberry tree. And I went and grabbed my camera, went to the house, grabbed my camera, came back, and I took about 200 photos. There were probably 150 birds in this tree. And they're very skittish. They don't sit around very long. And any movement, they just buzz away, and then they get their courage back up and they buzz back in because they like the berries so much.
That's
And
exquisite.
these just sat for me for one shot, and I really like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
They're
I
so
love the
velvety.
composition.
They're beautiful birds. And if you know where there's an elderberry tree, keep an eye out because they'll be around in the next month or so.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Sorry, my keyboard is jumping around a bit. Honorable mention, Gary.
That was Yellowstone. I just got lucky and had a nice shot up there of him, and it was really fun to just watch him up on the bank right next to the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Blend right in.
Congratulations.
Wonderful.
Kevin.
All right, Kevin.
That's in my backyard. As I was saying earlier, the hummingbirds love sage. And I couldn't make up any kind of story about it. So it is what it is.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Good shot. Honorable mention, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. I was just fascinated by this forest. The old trees are so huge, but I was looking at this, thinking it was weird, and then realized it was a nurse log under there from long ago, but yet it was still, parts of it were still there. And the roots almost form like, eventually they say that the whole thing will rot away and the tree will be standing on stilts with empty space where the nurse log once was.
Where is this, Jennifer?
Wow.
And this one, it didn't have a whole log, but you could still see parts of the stump that was left, and all the roots stretching down to the ground. But the height of the stumps or the logs gets it up above any of the other growth, and so it gets more light. Not to mention the nutrients it gets from the decaying wood. So it really gives trees an advantage for the regrowth, for the new growth, to use the old growth.
Where was
Is this
that
like
at?
Olympic National Park or something?
Olympic Peninsula National Park.
Really lovely,
Yeah.
lovely set of images.
Very nice.
Really great. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. In third place, Linda.
Oh, thank you. This is up in Glacier National Park up in Montana, and they're just fields and fields and fields of these things that we usually get up there in early July. And this little guy here is sort of half bloomed, but they're just really gorgeous. And this guy he'll bloom and then he won't bloom again for 15 years. It's just this big cycle of all these bazillion flowers, who eventually come back 15 years later. 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever they feel like.
Look at that.
Yeah, thank you.
They're beautiful.
Second place, Herb.
All right, Herb.
Oh, whoops. All right, there we go. Thank you. This was just a capture. Went down to the beach on whatever that day was, looking for big waves, and the lighting wasn't great. So we went back to Bodega Bay out to the point and just came across this. This is the first time I'd ever seen a dead seal with vultures working at it. So I just sat up there and took hundreds of images. And it's one of my favorite. You might see some more in the future.
I think the left-hand side is a picture in itself of the two on the left.
Yeah.
I wonder how it died originally.
We had talked to a guy at, where was it? At Point Reyes Headlands, and said that the fishermen actually shoot some of these scenes. Because I had, or there were great whites that had killed an elephant seal. So it's one of those two in all likelihood.
Well,
Amazing.
Really neat.
congratulations for
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
first place.
That's amazing.
Tara.
Oh, yay.
I love these bees so much. I think they're like the most adorable bee, and I spent a lot of time with them over the summer. And yeah, I'm super happy. Thank you.
The romantic portrait.
I know,
Love
yeah.
it.
Really interesting. It's really well
Love
shot.
color.
Great shot.
Really fun.
So much personality in that bee.
Yeah, they're very cute, I think.
Very cute.
I
A lot
agree.
of personality.
Yeah.
Okay, Nature Masters, 3 images. Third place, that's me.
All right.
Hey, Bill.
So Spring Lake, I sat in one spot for, they're very hard to spot, these guys, because they're small. They kind of blend in, believe it or not. And I watched the male for probably 45 minutes. He just slowly kept coming closer and closer. And then suddenly I got this great show. Stuck up his tail in the air, and the female came running over, and it took about 200 shots. And I
So
picked this
sharp.
one because it seemed like it told the whole story.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a
Very
capture.
cool.
Good job.
Yeah. Really, really beautiful.
Well done.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Well done. Jeez.
Second place, Tim.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Job.
Beautiful shot. Coloring.
Here,
looks
Tim?
accurate.
No.
Nope.
We'll go on to first place.
Nancy.
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 Oh my God, Nancy.
Yeah, that's a
Whoa,
great sequence.
very cool. Thank you. Wow. Well, we went down that spring 3 times, all the way down to very southern California for the super bloom in Anza-Borrego, which is a seldom known about state park from people up here. And it was just amazing. It was, each time we went, something different was happening. Anne went part of the time that season, and Nick Allen went with us on one of the trips.
I went there too in April. We missed the super bloom, but we got a lot of flowers anyway. The cactus were in bloom.
Do those make interesting
yeah.
butterflies?
I did get a butterfly picture of, it's a moth. It's a white line sphinx moth. And there was one in our room. And I took a picture of it on the wall, and it's like a fighter jet, kind of a triangular with really cool, Google it. It's got a really cool coal moth.
How big is it, Nancy?
So
The moth.
It seemed like it was maybe a couple inches, I think. Nothing like the size of these things, though.
Yeah, but these are 6 inches. That's bizarre that the moth's so small.
Well, they do their thing, the pupa and
They
you know,
lose a lot in
Oh my God,
translation.
this is amazing.
See, that looks like Mothra.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
I have thousands of pictures of these caterpillars.
Great color
Congratulations.
too.
Love it.
Great colors.
Very interesting.
Okay. Monochrome, 3 images. Elizabeth.
All right.
Thank you. Great visit to Quarry Hill back in January. And of course, I left the card out of my camera, so I got to use my iPhone. So I'm looking forward to going back in March with all of my equipment.
Great shot.
Nice. Congratulations. Beautiful.
Second place, Laura.
Laura. Yay.
That was taken out of Bodega, and yeah, I was just intrigued because I'd never seen anything like it where the bird puts its head in the water and gets a perfect circle. I always seen splashes and stuff, so that's what intrigued me about this particular photo.
Very cool.
Yeah, very nice.
Eye
Looks
above
good.
water.
I like how it's
Great
far. Yeah, very cool.
First place, Fritz.
This is not 30 miles in. It's only about 10 miles in, but it's nice. It's nice because it's actually a downhill hike from where you park. So it's, you know, you park at about 8,000 and this is about 7,000. So you walk downhill. This little waterfall. It's great for kids to play in. And she was in there when she was like 5. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful little spot to be.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Nice. Congratulations.
Intermediate, 4 images. Honorable mention, Gus.
Cool.
Really great shot.
Yeah, I love the horse on the left.
Great chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, nice shot.
Yeah.
Third place, Ronnie.
Thank you. So I took this in color, and it was nice in color, but when I converted it to black and white, I really loved it. And Tony believed in this image as much as I did. So thank you. It was Bodega Head.
Nice.
Love that sky.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, got
Nice
lucky.
title too.
Good
Thank you.
choice on black and white for it. Congrats.
Thanks. I agree.
I think the lovely figure really makes it.
Yeah. I paid him. Yeah.
Congratulations. Second place, Ellen.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. This is Georgetown in Sebastopol was once an old movie set. I don't know if they're still letting people come through, but I just happened to catch Barry Goldwater peeking out there. Our candidate who lost in 1964. I'm very happy he lost. Although my knowledge of
What was it, in your heart? You know I'm right.
Wing.
Yeah.
I think that was the slogan.
Something like that.
Come back with in your guts, you know he's nuts.
Yeah, that's really cool. What a blast from the past.
That was great.
Great chapter. I love it, Alan. Good job.
His vice presidential candidate was Miller. And any of you who might know, Stephanie Miller is a very left-wing radio host of a political show. She's a lesbian, and her father was his running mate.
Wow.
Wow. Good memory, Nancy.
Things change.
I listen to her every morning.
First place, Sherry.
You just choked me up.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I so enjoyed this in color that I put it in black and white, and I liked it as well, but then I was like, didn't know if I had regrets or not, but I'm really happy I did it. Thank you.
Spectacular.
Really pretty.
Wonderful.
Lovely.
image.
Yeah, those
Gosh,
rays are beautifully
Well
captured.
deserved.
Thank you. It was a good day. It was foggy and yeah, it was a good day. Thank you so much.
I look for images like this all the time. You beat me to it. Good job.
Okay, monochrome advanced, 5 images. Honorable mention, Kevin.
Those are some of the horses that inhabit the past the fields that are near along Old Cazadero Road up over Guerneville. I think Steve Minch has a few more pictures from there, but they're still there. And my dog is off to the right. It's out of the picture, and that's what they're looking at.
Wow. Great capture, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
beautiful.
Good faces.
Great
I
job.
know. I love the faces, the clouds. Oh,
Nice clarity.
Great place to take pictures if you ever go up there.
Very cool. Really cool image.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Phil.
So good.
Yeah. This is down in down in downtown Petaluma at the barber shop down there.
Oh,
Took it about 18 months ago.
Did you get a haircut?
Pardon?
Did you get a haircut?
No, you kidding. I liked it in color, but when I tried it in black and white, it just looks so much
perfect.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were taking it.
Yeah, I went in there and asked everybody in the shop. There were like 3 people there, including the owner. I asked them all if I could take their photos and sit there. I sat there for about half an hour taking pictures. And I, supplied the pictures to them.
Good.
It reminds me
This
of a,
moment is just amazing.
it
I
rem-
love it. I love it.
yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
Very special.
Hello?
Did they tell you what they were thinking at the time?
That apron is pretty
No,
cool too.
I was just taking picture after picture. And at the time when I saw this, it was too late. I was already at home. I wasn't looking at every image as I took it.
It's a good one.
Love it.
Congratulations.
Love it.
Third place, Guy.
Oh, God.
Is a Frank Gehry designed building in the Seattle Center up in Seattle where the World's Fair in 60 something was held. And we were just wandering around and I thought it was kind of a neat perspective. I vacillated a little bit whether I should have left the clouds in, but it just needed a little grounding somehow. So you knew it was a building and not something else. So that's what I came up with. Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad you
Good
left the
job.
clouds in.
Good job. I would have left the clouds too. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Second place, Tricia.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. This is an infrared image and it's either from the Palouse or from the trip to Bodie. I don't remember which. But I just
Wow.
love the tree all by itself, and I was experimenting with infrared and really enjoying what it did to the sky and to the green of the foliage and the grass. So thank you.
Did you shoot it infrared or convert it?
Shot it infrared. I
Congrats.
have a
Great.
camera that was
Awesome.
converted by
Beautiful.
5 pixel,
Yeah.
the Nikon D7000.
I like the curve of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful.
Very
Thank
cool. 78 millimeters.
In first place, Steve.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Really pretty.
Yeah, this is.
Love that.
I've got thousands of images from the area, and this one, if you look about a quarter of the way across in that black line, you'll see one bus to give you an idea of perspective.
Uh-huh.
And it's tiny, almost like a spot. But there were a lot of cars. I took a lot of cars and bright spots and junk out of it to simplify it a bit. I added a filter and did a lot of playing with the foreground, because first I made it super sharp and bright, but it was pulling away from the mountains. So I added a little bit of a filter and softened up the foreground and played with the contrast and stuff. And then the clouds, they were too bright for the mountains. I wanted the mountains to be strongest. So I spent a lot of time really working on getting the mountains the way I wanted them, and then making clouds so they weren't too overbearing on it. So it took a lot of playing with it to get it, but I'm happy with it. So thank you. I guess it was worth my effort.
Very effective.
It was sure wonderful to see it.
Beautiful balance.
I'd love to see
Yeah.
some close-ups of the mountains more, you know, it kind of really invites you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks kind of like an Adams.
Like a what?
An Adams.
Oh,
You know, Ansel?
Yeah, Nancy
Yeah,
left
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up down there, and
Atomic
believe it or not, he was one of my very first ran into and became a mentor for one photograph for me.
Hey, well, it stuck.
Many
Yeah.
images?
Yeah.
How many
Beautifully
images?
done, Steve.
What's
Steve,
that?
how many did it take to get this? How many?
This image it's one of the few horizontal panoramas I did, and I think there were 7 images stitched together to make it. I did vertical and I did horizontal.
Incredible.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't remember. There's
Oh, well
one
done.
I did horizontal and vertical and stitched it all together, and that may have been this image. I'll have to go back and look, because I did several like this. Some were all vertical, some were all horizontal, and there's one I did with both horizontal and to make this massive image, and I think that was this one. If that's the case, this thing could be freaking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
massive wall hanger.
Right.
Good job.
And thank you.
Beautiful.
Beautifully done.
Great, thank you.
Masters, 5 images. Honorable mention, Liz.
Oh, Liz.
Well,
Well,
thanks. This in color wasn't as exciting for the ripples of black and white, so I liked how it came out.
I love it. I love the drip from its chest.
Yeah.
Quirky
And the
tail.
detail in the feathers in the back.
Yeah.
And it's recent.
Pretty
Yes,
recent.
it is.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Love it.
Thank you.
Very nice. Honorable mention, Nancy.
Oh, I love this.
Wow, I love it too. It's a great image.
Fabulous.
2014.
Yeah, I don't think there was any hints behind you in your image.
No, really.
Oh, yeah.
I use this a
Oh.
lot. Yeah. It's a good, this is a good.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love this image.
So much drama.
Just
Yeah,
brilliant.
fantastic.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Really.
Love it.
Yeah.
You'll see it again.
Third place, Tamara.
Oh, I love this.
Thank you. This is kind of a bizarre shot. I put it in just because for some reason I can't let go of it, and I could never decide if really there was anything there or not. But just because it's unconventional, like I shot some where you could see the whole other Dow, but then I don't know, it didn't interest me as much. So I kind of chose this one where it was, the composition was a little odd. And as I recall, I was shooting into the sunset. So the sky was kind of weird and bright there, and I did darken it some, but it's an amazing place up there.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's really, really old boats, and you're up in these islands right by the Somali border, and the town. It's an Arab islands, and there's sand streets, and there's one car. I think they let the mayor have a car on this island, and there's nowhere really for him to drive because there's not really any streets wide enough for cars to go down them, but. It's an interesting island. Interesting. It used to be very jet set up there. And then they had some terrorism problems, and the tourism has been shut down for quite a long time. So it kind of ebbs and flows, but it's a pretty amazing place if you're comfortable enough to go up there.
I love the sail.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love
You
your
love the what?
viewpoint.
The sail, the texture.
Oh, thank you. I was undecided, but I thought, I just want to see what other people thought about it. So thank you.
Very nice.
Congratulations. Second place, Terry.
It's good.
Oh, wow.
Goes again.
That's cool.
My internet is slow, so it takes me a while to get. Oh, there we are. Yeah, you know, I used a little Flexify on this one too, and little Topaz. And he just struck me as being for Godot. And in the time of 2020, there's of course no Vladimir next to him to talk to, but I enjoyed doing this one.
Where
Thank
is
you.
this? This is.
I thought
This
Godot.
was at the MoMA. It was
I
at the
thought Godot-
MoMA. Looking down from the steps was the original photo.
Oh.
The
I thought
MoMA in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I thought Godot was his wife's name.
Lots of motion along with your
I'm
step.
sorry. Oh, Godot.
A nice
It's a
combination.
play by Beckett.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful play by Beckett.
Nice, Terry.
Congratulations, Terry.
Very good.
In first place, Steve.
Oh, great.
Can y'all hear me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I've been around here almost 2 years, and I think tonight I finally figured out the importance of or what works and what doesn't with titles. And quite frankly, I'm amazed that this got first with that title, because I think a more appropriate title might have been something like Converted Barn, something simple. This is kind of a little too descriptive for maybe this category. And but anyway, nevertheless, I really like the image. I think the tonality is really good. There's so much to look at. You wander around looking at all this stuff, but I don't think you ever get really too bored of it. And it was just something that I really liked. Thank you.
You got a great
Where is this?
range from white to black. Was this an HDR?
Oh,
No? Wow.
it's a single image shot with, I believe I used, it was a wide angle zoom actually, but probably at the widest angle. But it was a single image capture.
Very good.
Really good.
Great.
I've been looking at Ansel Adams' photographs for titles. And one of the things I noticed is that he's very direct. He's very direct. This is what it is.
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
I just
I
passed
like
that
it a lot. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Congratulations.
Nice. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
Well done.
Okay, drum roll. Best of show, best of all the first place winners.
All right.
Oh,
Nice picture.
congratulations, Terry.
Super.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Thank
terrific.
you very much.
Fabulous image.
Like I say, they're just so much fun to do.
Do it well, Terry.
Thank you all.
Yeah, really.
Thank you.
Wow.
Excellent choice, Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, thank you, Jane.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You
you.
guys are really, really good.
Amazing photos, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Beautiful stuff.
Thanks.
All right.
Be safe.
Good night,